Hello, this is Dr. Marty Klein with more Sexual Intelligence. As you know, America's culture wars often focus on sexuality. At the same time, sexual minorities are increasingly vocal. With the current media attention to drag queens, pronouns, polyamory, puberty blockers, and a few felons with penises demanding to be jailed in women's cell blocks, it's easy to forget that these are not the central concerns of most people. While issues like these can be fascinating and legitimately important to a small number of people, most people's sexual concerns are far more pedestrian. Unfortunately, most psychologists and physicians have little or no training in helping patients with common sexual issues. Sex therapists, of course, do, but there are only a few thousand in America, and many Americans don't even know that the specialty exists. So, what are the central sexual concerns of most people? Well, number one, I'm concerned that my sexual fantasies are not normal, or that they mean something bad about me, or how much fantasizing is okay, and is it okay to fantasize in order to climax with my husband? Most people don't realize just how common and relatively tame their sexual fantasies are. Very few people fantasize about their own mate. Why fantasize about something if we can already get it in real life? Taboo is the center of the fantasy game. Activities and partners you shouldn't do, risking serious consequences you'd never gamble with in real life. Most people know that their non-sexual fantasies aren't dangerous, whether it's robbing a bank and moving to Tahiti or killing a merciless boss and getting away with it. Similarly, most sexual fantasies have very little predictive value. Interpreting sexual fantasies is a parlor game that no one should take seriously. Common concern number two. How do I cope with the sexual changes brought by aging? And that's true for people in their 30s as well as people in their 60s. Well, in a youth-obsessed culture, it's no surprise that people see virtually every age-related life change as bad or something to postpone or prevent. I invite people to acknowledge age-related sexual changes as well as other life changes. Only then can we think clearly about which changes to accept, which to manage, and which to oppose. Taking longer to get aroused, for example, is only a problem if you budget too little time for a sexual encounter. Well, common concern number three. My partner and I have very different sex drives. I have not so much interest in sex. My partner and I are sexually incompatible. What should I do? Contrary to most stereotypes, half of those people with less desire than their mate are men. Given popular stereotypes, this can create extra difficulties for lower desire men and higher desire women. Like every other part of our personal makeup, sex drive is distributed among the population. Some people are lower, some people are higher, some medium. For many people, libido varies a great deal depending on mood, personal hygiene, the state of a relationship, and the phase of the moon. Many people have enormous desire for one person, but very little desire for another. This is not a special orientation. It's the way people have always been. That's because desire is the product of dozens of factors: biologic, psychologic, and situational. If two people are both content with very little sex, that's fine. And if both people value sex highly and enjoy each other sexually, that's also fine. It's when two people with very different sexual personalities couple up that problems arise. And I'm afraid that this is very common, maddeningly common if you're a therapist. Higher desire people can lose much of their drive if circumstances collapse, but historically lower desire people generally don't become high desire people. Unfortunately, when a mixed desire couple run into problems, these problems can't always be resolved. Common concern number four. How do I get my partner to touch me or make love with me in a different way? What do I do when they ask why I won't do a certain thing in bed that they really want? After people are together for a while, in a couple, they learn each other's food preferences. how spicy they like food, whether they like their meat rare or well done, or they're vegans, whether they eat vegetables enthusiastically or grudgingly. Do they drink water with their meals, coffee or tea afterwards? What about dessert? The same should be true about sexual preferences. What does Rosie like all the time, some of the time, or not at all? How much does Marcus like to be pushed into doing something? Nobody likes everything, and nobody likes the things that they like to a uniform degree. When someone's had a good night's sleep and their chores are done, they may be more enthusiastic about sexual activities that they're often ambivalent about. It does come down to communication. Are you willing to tell the truth about your sexuality clearly, ask for what you want, and say no when you want to say no, all without apology? If you do, and your partner refuses to honor this information, you don't have a sexual problem, you have a relationship problem. And finally, common concern number 5, I'm afraid my partner is cheating on me, or I'm afraid I'm going to cheat on my partner, or years after infidelity, my partner still can't get over my infidelity, or I can't get over theirs. Cheating and infidelity are among the most common cases that I deal with every week. Some people are chronically suspicious and eventually drive a faithful partner away. Other people are in low-sex or no-sex marriages and eventually feel that they're out of options, especially when no sex also means no affection. When infidelity is discovered or disclosed, I tell people not to respond too quickly. With emotions running so high, it's too soon to decide to split up or, for that matter, to reconcile. Infidelity usually launches a crisis, which has to bubble for a while. A crisis is a terrible thing to waste, right? Some people never get over a partner's infidelity, almost as if they were waiting for it all their lives. And now that the worst has happened, they plan to be so vigilant that it can never happen again. Well, except that vigilance can't prevent betrayal, it can only prevent reconciliation. Well, I'm Dr. Marty Klein. Thanks for listening today. Hey, so you can subscribe to my YouTube channel here and check me out on Instagram and Twitter too, all with sexual intelligence. Thanks.